Hey everyone, it's Albie. Welcome back to my channel. I have a fun video for you today. I thought, like most people that are doing now, you have watched season 2 of Bridgerton and don't know what to do now. Do you want to read historical romances for the first time? Do you want to finish reading the rest of the Bridgerton books? Or are you looking for other books that give you the same sort of vibe as Bridgerton? So I thought I'd start off with this book because I have not seen a lot of people talk about it, and it is a great book. It's a 5-star read, and it's soon to be a movie at Netflix. And this is Mr. Malcolm's List by Suzanne Allen or Elaine. And fairly short book. It's about 245 pages. And I think people would really like this story. If you remember in Bridgerton, I believe it was episode 1 where Anthony is going over the list of attributes he wants to find in a woman. That is essentially what Mr. Malcolm's list is. So in this story, Mr. Malcolm is looking for a wife and has this list of demands / requirements he requires of a woman in order to be considered worthy of being his duchess or whatever, his bride. And so Lady Julia finds out about this list and is not happy about it at all. She thinks it is so misogynistic and just rude of him and just demeaning. He's not that great in her opinion. So she actually has her friend Selena come into town to play a trick on him. So Selena loves to do mischief and tricks with her friend Julia. And she is, a great beauty. She's of age for marriage and everything. And so she decides to play a trick on Mr. Malcolm and to do all things on his list, but she's not going to be that perfect wallflower for him. But soon the two sort of fall for each other, even if the list for each other doesn't match up. So if you love that idea of a man with this sort of insane list of requirements for a wife, I would definitely pick up Mr. Malcolm's List. This to me was a 5-star read. It was also, I guess we would call it G-rated. I mean, had no spice. So if you're someone that doesn't want to have any sort of spice, you can definitely read this. If you want your mom or grandmother or whomever to read a book from a genre that you love, like historical romances, and don't know if they're going to want to have some spiciness in them, you can throw this book their way because I think they'll really enjoy it. I absolutely love this story, and I'm excited for the movie. Alright, so if you really liked the idea of historical romances that have or feature an interracial couple, I give you The Princess Stakes by Amelie Howard. We have a Pacific Indian princess and an English, is he a duke? I believe he is a duke. English duke, so have the same sort of vibes as Bridgerton. This is an historical romance and is very action / thriller packed. So our heroine, Princess Sarani Rao, is trying to escape India because her family is being assassinated. They want to take over the throne, and she's the next on a hit list. So she has to disguise herself as sort of a regular, everyday English woman and escape to England. Well, the captain of the ship she's riding on is her ex-childhood best friend / kind of fiance. They had to call it off for reasons, but the man that she used to love about 10 years ago is the captain of the ship. So if you're looking for a book with lots of tension and that enemies to lovers banter that falls into passion, I think you definitely love The Princess Stakes. If you are looking for a book that is like Bridgerton but is not set in England, it's set in America, or if you're a fan of Bridgerton and The Gilded Age on HBO, you should definitely pick up The Heiress Hunt by Joanna Shupe. So we have Harrison Archer, who is sort of a bad boy that's come back to town. He is wanting to essentially ruin his family because his family was so rude to him. He wants to just break apart their fortune. But in order to get to be in charge of the estate, he has to have a bride. So when he enlists his childhood friend, what was her name? My goodness, Maddie Webster, to help him find a duchess, or not a duchess, I'm sorry, to find a bride. And so Maddie agrees, but soon these childhood friends become more than that, and passion arises. Very spicy. We have a hero that is in love with the heroine first, and just filled with that angst and tension, and just a super fun story. So if you want a Bridgerton-esque book but set in America or set in the Gilded Age, pick up this. This is book 1 in the Fifth Avenue Rebel series. And yeah, fairly short. It's a really fun read. I love Joanna Shupe. So this is my first full novel by her. I own book 2 in this, and I'm going to read that shortly. But this is book 1, The Heiress Hunt. All right, I have not read this book yet, but I will very soon. This is a prequel series to Bridgerton. It's by Julia Quinn, the author of the series, and this is because of Miss Bridgerton. So don't know too much about it. I don't like to read the back of books. I'm kind of weird that way. But I know that is a prequel to Bridgerton. So I believe these are, this is Billy Bridgerton, and she's going to marry one of the Roxby brothers. So I'm assuming that might be Edmund's sister, or it could be Edmund's grandmother. So Edmund was the father of the Bridgerton siblings. You know, he married to Violet. So I'm assuming she's either his sister or somehow related to Edmund. So very excited to read this. All right, and then the Big Kahuna. If you want to read a historical romance series that involves siblings, and each sibling gets their own book, I have the whole series right here. I have read every single one except for book 6, and this is the Wilds of Lindlow Castle series by Eloisa James. For some reason, I have them all in the large print edition. Not sure how that happened, but I'm not mad at it because you get these beautiful covers. No step backs, but just big covers. So this is book 1, and this is Wild in Love by Eloisa James. We definitely get the Anthony Bridgerton vibes with the wet shirt. And this is with Lord Alaric Wilde, the Duke of Lindlow. And he is the second oldest, so he's like Duke in name, but he doesn't have to do all the hard stuff. And he's just sort of a bad boy. He is a traveler in the same sense that Colin Bridgerton was. So he travels around the globe and writes stories. So if you're also like, if you're like a Colin lover, like a Colin Bridgerton enthusiast, I would definitely pick up Wild in Love by Eloisa James. Love this story. There's some really funny scenes, especially with a baby skunk. And there's also like a secret mystery, and I believe there was a scene with a woman trying to, you know, corrupt a marriage. So really fun. Here's sort of the step back with Alaric and what was her name? Willa Finch. Loved her. Book 1. Book 2, Too Wild to Wed. This to me, if you're an Anthony Bridgerton lover, you're gonna really like this one. I will say I don't really feel like you have to read the series in order. I did. I don't remember there being something that was going to be messed up if you didn't. You just sort of know. Some people are already married, but that's kind of the point. All right, so this is with the handsome, rakish heir, Roland Northbridge Wilde, and he is sort of, he's the heir, so he's the eldest, or he was the eldest. He's the eldest living. Maybe. And in book 1, he is very of the time, so he wears the powdered wig, and I think he even has the powdered face with the rouge and the lipstick. So if you know, like the this is the Georgian period, I believe. If you know, like I've seen the movie The Favorite with Olivia Colman. I can't think of his name, but he used to date Jennifer Lawrence. He has the like powdered face with the rouge lips and the lipstick and the big powdered wig, and that's how he was in the first book. And then he just sort of throws off the wig. And this has such a good romance. So the woman that he was sort of jilted by, Diana Belgrave, she comes back and she has a child that's about the same age that would have been if they had, you know, stayed together. So, you know, does he have a secret love child? Does, you know, what's going on? So she comes back to live in the castle with her son. And, you know, he's not really thrilled about that, especially could that be his son? So absolutely love this story. This is a second chance romance. It's sort of, I wouldn't say enemies to lovers, but you know, jilted for sure. But this is definitely a second chance romance. I love second chance romances. I'm not sure if it's considered the first second chance romance, but if you want like a classic novel that's a second chance romance, pick up Persuasion by Jane Austen. It's fairly short and it reads pretty modern. I just love Persuasion by Jane Austen. That is a great second chance romance. All right, book 3. Definitely have another bad boy. This is Born to be Wild, and this has sort of the good girl that's corrupted by the bad boy, and that is his name, Parth. Yeah, Parth Wild. It's so hard to get all the names sometimes, but I have read these, but it's been a couple years. Parth Wild and Lavinia Gray, and she's sort of the good girl. She's always been, you know, Miss Prim and Proper. If I'm correct, she is the best friend of Willa from book 1, and she is just besmitten by Parth, and he's sort of, you know, it's a grumpy sunshine romance, and you know, things, you know, warm up slowly. So this is book 3. Book 4 is Say No to the Duke. In this we have Betsy, and she wants to escape her life as a soon-to-be Duchess or Wallflower and plays a billiard game to get some riches so that she can join a theater troupe and sort of live as a boy she wanted. And, you know, she plays the game with Lord Jeremy, and, you know, some things go out of hand. All right, this is probably my, I would say book 2, which is Too Wild to Wed. I'd say these two are my favorite in the series. And in this one we have Viola, and she is a definition of a wildflower, to the point where she literally vomits when she has to be like in some sort of courting environment with men. So she is completely like turned off by being a wildflower or being with men of any sort. She's very prim and proper, very ladylike, and just absolutely terrified of men. So I thought that was so funny. There's actually a point in the book where she tries to pursue a relationship with the priest, because she feels like if she's with the priest, he won't be trying to do things with her. So I just thought that was so funny that she's trying to get with the village vicar so that she doesn't have to go to balls. She can just be a priest's wife and not have to do much, just sort of be in the shadows, and maybe he won't touch her, sort of thing. So this is Say Yes to the Duke. Absolutely love this book. So sweet, so romantic, had a lot of humor. Viola is such a queen. If you want just a sweet historical romance with a really cute wildflower-ish heroine, I would say pick up Say Yes to the Duke. And then I haven't read this one. This is book 6, Wild Child. And here we have another woman in breeches, so I'm assuming maybe she has to go into disguise as well. And this is with, what is her name? Oh, she also wants to be an actress, it seems. And that is Joan, Lady Joan Wilde. So very excited for this as well. I want to get to this book this year. But yeah, these are my picks for books to read after you have watched Bridgerton. So if you want the family dynamic, highly recommend The Wilds of Linlow Castle by Eloisa James. Here's all the books. They are all 5 stars for me. Like again, I said, you don't really have to read them in order. I know book 1 has a cliffhanger for book 2, and book 2's like my favorite, and this one is really good too. There aren't any I didn't really not like. I'd say book 4 is probably the weakest for me, but I kind of read it at a weird time. So maybe that was part of it. If you want something by the author Bridgerton or the prequel to the Bridgerton series, check out Because of Miss Bridgerton by Julia Flynn. If you want Bridgerton meets the Gilded Age, try anything by Joanna Shupe, but I highly recommend the Heiress Hunt, which is book 1 in the series. If you want to have a historical romance featuring an interracial couple, and that has action and adventure, check out The Princess Takes by Amelie Howard. And if you were really intrigued by Anthony Bridgerton's lists and demands for a wife, I say you check out Mr. Malcolm's List by Suzanne Elaine. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope there were some books that you found enjoyable. If there's any you would like to know more about, just leave a comment and I can let you know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, as well as comment. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at I'll Be Reading Romance. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.